leading us in psalm and song. And for those of you who are watching us around the world, we want to celebrate God for you. Come on, let's celebrate our virtual family. I thank God for the First Lady of our church. What a blessing. What a blessing. I want to thank God for our church mother being with us on today. Amen. Amen. Come on, come on. 82 years old. Yes. I was worried about Sunday school because mother went in there teaching herself. I didn't know if y'all was going to get through. Mother got a hold of something and she was about to take off. And for this, we are grateful. I want to share with you just for a few fleeting moments in time. This is our second installment of the series, What God Can't Do. What God Can't Do. So let's just go to work. How about that? We started in this series, What God Can Do, and I am so grateful for this body of Christ that trusts their man of God, because you all could have stoned me when I announced things that God could not do. We found out in the first installment that God cannot lie. Would you tell your neighbor that? Tell him God cannot lie. Tell your neighbor you might, but he can't. Amen. God cannot lie. And the second one would be God cannot die. He is eternal. He is forever. There is nothing that no one can do that would cease him from being. God cannot lie, and he cannot die. Are you still with me? And the third installment from the first portion of our series was God cannot fail. Y'all remember singing those songs, He's Never Failed Me Yet? That's what that was, that good music back in the day. But before we had synthesizers and the drummer had just one little piece of stick. Y'all don't know nothing about that. And a cowbell. A cowbell. You remember the cowbell? 3 singers in the choir and it sounded like 100. Y'all talk to me. He got a cowbell. So God cannot lie, God cannot die, God cannot fail. Let's move. I found that in this series, God has taught me something that I needed very badly. The fourth portion, please make some notes, y'all, that I want you to understand that God cannot change. Look at your neighbor and tell him God cannot change. If you are a Bible believer, you will understand that God will speak for himself. Malachi chapter 3 verse 6, he says, "For I am the Lord, I change not." How many of you had some friends that change on you, just change on you? Y'all not talking to me. Change, and I'm talking about good friends. And they changed on you. And sometimes it wasn't something that you did, it was something that you got. I'm losing my crowd. Because you was good for them when you was in the Hyundai. I don't hear nobody. And 3 of the rims didn't even match. Y'all won't talk to me. But the moment God began to move you to another level, they start talking crazy about you simply because God is doing something in your life. He says, for I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. What does it mean to change? Because many times when you say you're changing, you didn't change, you just moved to the side. I don't hear nobody talking to me. You said you were going to change, and some of you did it for a moment in time, but then you snap back to who you used to be. Change means to make or become different. Stop telling people you've changed and you're still doing the same stuff. Stop telling people you're growing and you're still doing the same thing. Stop telling people that you've got more power, but you can't lift nothing. Change means to make or become different. God also desires that we also not be wishy-washy as believers. I don't hear y'all. Look down your road and tell them, stop being wishy-washy. Stop. If you're going to do it, just do it. But if you're not, don't call on me no more, because I've got time that I need to keep. So therefore, if you're going to do it halfway, don't call me. 1 Corinthians 15 and 58 says this, therefore, my beloved brethren, I want you to do this for me. Be ye steadfast. Steadfast means that if I can count on you Monday being right here, when I come back to that next Monday, I want to see you right there. I want you to be steadfast, not just steadfast, but be steadfast, be unmovable. Unmovable. Unmovable means it does not matter what the storm, it does not matter who said what, it does not matter what you got. Unmovable means I'm going to wait on the Lord. I'm going to trust him. If God says I'm going to stand right here, I'm going to stay right here. God desires that we not be wishy-washy. 1 Corinthians says, therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain. Are you still with me? Can I stay in the word for a while here? The Bible says, Hebrews 11 and 8, for those of us who understand that God will not change. Hebrews 11 and 8 says this, Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and when. Come on, who don't want to serve a God, the God that's the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore? I thought somebody was going to holler at me. Jesus Christ, and here's what you need to get out of this text here in Hebrews 11 and 18, that Jesus Christ, he was the same yesterday. What that blesses me with, it lets me know that even though I've moved from yesterday into today, he's still working on some things from my yesterday. Who am I talking to out here? That God, God needs to help you with your yesterday. You're already in today, but God, I'm just believing that what I spoke to you yesterday can manifest even today. Are you still with me? You cannot change God, but God can change you. It's about to get deep in here. Our attitude will not change God's. I'm so grateful that my attitude didn't make God pull out his. I'm grateful to God that the time when I should have and I didn't, he did not consume me. Are you still with me? Our attitude will not change. God, our moods are personal and not always spiritual. I got one person clapping at me. Our moods are personal, but not always spiritual. Our hurts and pains will not change what God has allowed. I had to help some scholars here recently because Mother Schultz, they were telling things that were just not biblically sound or true. And I have a responsibility to share the gospel's truth. So they were saying that the devil had as much power as God does. The devil is a lie. I can prove it to you in Scripture. When the prophet was going higher, and Satan had to go to God to ask permission to attack Job. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying? So how could he have more power than God when he had to go and ask for permission to deal with Job? I feel like preaching this part right here. Sometimes God puts you in position to see how much you can stand under the anointing of your God. Because if God put you there, he did not put you there to destroy you. He put you there for a reason and a season. I feel like shouting there. He put you there for a reason and a season. But those of you who know anything about seasons, they don't last long. What am I trying to tell you? If you know anything about seasons, they don't last long. So when you get in a season of joy, you better shout like there is no tomorrow. I got one usher shout. Ain't nobody else saying nothing. When you in a season of joy, you better give God all the praise that you... Yeah. When you're in that season, you better learn how to trust God. And the reason why you need to learn how to trust him, because seasons change. I don't hear nobody hollering back at me. Men, would y'all holler back at me and let them know that seasons change? One day you on the mountaintop. Next day you're down in the valley low. I don't hear. You need to understand that seasons do change. Trying to change God's mind is like running through a storm and trying not to get wet. Trying to change God's mind is futile. Makes no sense. It's a conundrum. It's a mystery. For you to try to change God's mind is foolishness. Because this God is already steps ahead of what you could even imagine that's coming into your life. Can I move a little further now? You cannot change God's love. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. Some of the worst sinners in the world are sitting right here in church. Y'all won't talk back to me. Some of the worst sinners in the world found a point in time in life that they said, I got to stop doing this. I don't hear nobody. Who am I talking to out there? That you as a professional sinner, talk to me. Come on, talk, wave your hand, do something, pull up the Hennessy bottle. I don't know what you got to do. But right now, you need to understand what God is trying. God cannot change his love. He won't change his mind. You can't change his sight. You can't change his heart. You can't change anything. You just can't change him. Have you had some people change on you? At the wrong time. Come on. Y'all still not hollering at me. Have you had some folks that they swore in oath that they would be there for you? Y'all won't talk to me. They declared, they even showed you what they were going to do, and it didn't come to pass. But guess what? I need you to shout that it didn't come to pass, because God was wanting to tell you, I don't want them to bless you, I'm going to bless you. I don't need them to do it, I'm going to do it. All you got to do is stay faithful, and at the right time, I will show up and show up. Look at your neighbor and tell him, neighbor, thank you, but God's going to work this out for me. Look down your road and tell him, neighbor, I thank you, but God's going to open a door for me. Look down your road and tell somebody else, oh, neighbor, I thank you, but God's going to heal my body. God's going to turn it around. Say yes. Ladies, Psalms 90 verse 2 says this, Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth or ever had formed into the earth, the world even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. For some of y'all, I don't think we serve the same God. Pastor, I think some of us, I don't think they're serving the same God. Because if we were serving the same God, you still know what God can do even in the trouble that you're in. I'm preaching to myself. This is just for me. This is just for me. Because if you really understood God, that when he leads you in storms, it's always for a reason. Y'all didn't hear what when he told Noah to do something that he had never seen before, never built, never even seen rain before. But when God told him to do it, he just went and did it. Why? And when he did it, God showed him something that he had never seen before. God is getting ready to show you something that you ain't never seen before. This ain't got nothing to do with money. This ain't got nothing to do with your bloodline. God is getting ready to blow your whoa! I got the God is proving that even in the circumstances of your life, he's still God. High five somebody, tell him he's still God. Psalm 102 verse 27 says, in the beginning you laid the foundations of the earth. God does nothing without taking counsel with himself first. God does nothing before he takes counsel within himself. Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. And before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you and ordained you the prophet unto the nation. I need you to be scared of this verse. I do. I need you to be fearful of this verse, because the verse says, before I formed you, I knew you. So what you've done has never took me by surprise. I knew you was going to smoke weed. I knew you was going to have sex before your time. I knew you did it. And guess what? I still love you. Tell somebody he still loves you. He says, I knew you before you came out of your mama's womb, and I still sanctified you. I need someone right now who came in here today with a load on your back. I need you to just jump up and give God some praise, to let God know I'm not worried about what they say. This is what happens. This is what happens when I get in my word. I've been in my word, y'all. 4-5 hours a day, I've been in my word. I come down here and I go to the kitchen table at the house. I'm in my bedroom. I'm getting in my word. Why? Because I don't have enough time to lead such a great, august body of people without having some word in my belly. Okay. But here's the part that you're responsible for. Here. Before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained you a prophet unto the nations without your permission. And you wondering why you seeing dreams and visions. You're wondering why God is interrupting your sleep, because you are the one that forgot about this scripture that before you came out of your mother's womb, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet unto the nations. Are y'all still with me? One of the challenges that we have, maybe it's just me, let me stop putting my stuff on y'all, but I got issues. The problem that I'm struggling with now is that many of us have been in church too long not to know God. That's just facts. Street facts. There's too many of us who grew up in church and still don't know him. You have an ideology of him, but you don't know him. Because if you knew him, you would not be in the pain that you're dealing with emotionally. And if you trusted him, you would not be going through the storms that you're currently in. And it's all because you don't know his name. You've been calling everybody but God. Bro, can you loan me something, man? It's a little tight. Can you loan me something that you can't do? Okay, let me see. Let me talk to the bass player, because they always got, he got the low stuff, so he got some money somewhere. Can you loan me a little something? He looked at me, he said, no, he can't loan me. I'm going to deal with the drummer, and the drummer knew it's bad. I'm going to say, brother, can you do anything? He done put his sticks up. Let me help you. One of the best miracles that ever hit your life is when God said no and let you go through the drama that you're in. Is there anybody here that wants to help me celebrate God for the storm that you were in or the storm that you're... I can't even get rid of chapter. So let me see if I can finish and leave you here. The problem that I'm having with believers is that we really don't know God's name. We don't. And we've not taken the time to research it. But I love you. I love you enough to help you to understand not just God's name. I want to share with you God's street name. Y'all not talking back to me. Everybody got a street name. Come on, talk back to me. You know your street name. Where's Kwee at? Come on. There's always a Kwee somewhere. Come on, talk to me. We're Nene and Little Man. Come on, talk back to me. Where's your street name? You know everybody's name, but you don't know God. He is Abba, Father. That means he's a father to the fatherless. He is Jehovah, the existing and mighty one. He's El Shaddai, which means God Almighty. He's Jehovah Rapha, that is the God that heals. I need to say that again just for me. He's Jehovah Rapha. He is the God that heals. Somebody just jump up and turn around one time and say, God, heal me. He's Adonai, Lord and Master. He's El Shaddai, the all-sufficient one. Did y'all hear what I said? He's El Shaddai. He's the all-sufficient one. So whatever you need, God's got it. Y'all not ready for me. Do y'all remember that? So whatever you need, God's got it. Tell your neighbor, God's got it. He's Elohim. He's God, judge, and creator. He's Yahweh, Lord Almighty. Oh! But the last one, Mama, don't you holler in here, I'll lose it. He's Jehovah Jireh. Do I have anybody in here who understands what Jehovah Jireh means? It means the Lord, He will provide. Who am I talking to in here that needs God to provide? Don't look at your neighbor now. Look down in your belly and said, God, you've done it before. You can do it again. I've seen miracles in my life. I've seen miracles that turn things around. But right now, I need you to be the God that will provide. High five somebody and tell them He will provide. Y'all not saying it like I want you to do. High five somebody and tell them He will provide. Late in the midnight hour, God will turn it around. Say yeah. I'm done. I'm done. I dare you to give God the best praise you can right where you are. I dare you to give him the best praise. Thank you, sir. Listen, I am imposing an all shout rule. When one shout, we all shout. When one dance, we all dance. I need every believer in here to jump to your feet and give God some praise in here. I'm done. Oh my. Oh my. Every dancer to the dance floor. My. Wait a second. Bye-bye. Every man wave your hand in here. Every man wave that hand in here. I'm done. Eric. Hands are lifted. Hands are lifted. This was ringing in my heart. I've been bothering it, and I know I can't sing. You thought I was worth saving. And you came into my life. You thought I was worth keeping. And you filled me up inside. So I could be free. I could be whole. You thought I was worth saving. And you came into my life. You thought I was worth. And you filled me. You thought I was dying for. Sacrifice your life. Come on, y'all better help me. You better help me right here. Come on. Hallelujah. Come on, open your mouth. Glory to the God who saved. I'll praise you. I love you. I'll give you glory. I'll tell the story. I can be. Come on, one more time, one more time. Open your mouth, everybody. Hallelujah. Glory to the God who saved my life. Come on. I'll praise you. I'll worship you. I'll give you glory. I'll tell the story. I'll praise you. I'll worship you. I'll give you glory. I'll give you glory. I'll praise you. I'll worship you. I'll give you glory.